here we go. Another week of Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. Getting off to a great start today. We're going to be talking about milestones in our lives. What is a milestone that you have reached? Probably many by now in your life, perhaps. Is there one that you're looking forward to? We all experience milestones. We may not remember some of them, like, say, our first birthday. That's a huge celebration for our family and friends. For us, it's just like, hey, I want something to eat, that kind of thing. But we have first communions, confirmations, graduations. We have weddings, we get married. We have our first child, all sorts of things like this. So what are some milestones, or a particular milestone that you have really have fond memories of in your life, or that you're looking forward to? 1-800-585-9396. 800-585-9396. I'm here with Debbie Georgiani, the birthday girl. It's a milestone for her, folks. It's not just any birthday, though, Debbie. So happy birthday. How you doing?
Happy 50th birthday.
50th birthday? You're that old? Oh, my goodness.
I'm practicing. See how I said it? Kind of just rolled off my tongue. It was okay. But I noticed your voice is still raspy. Is that because you've been practicing the happy birthday song to me or something like that?
Yeah, I've been singing it all weekend, getting ready. But I tell you, I guarantee our listeners still would not want me to sing happy birthday to you, even if I practiced all weekend.
Oh, that's too funny. Well, milestones, I mean, a lot of people have said, were you nervous about approaching 50? Believe it or not, I really wasn't. I've got the Peter Pan theory. And age is just a number. So it really didn't affect me that much. But this topic today of milestones, I really looked into feeling about what I actually felt about that, about milestones. And looking back, this was a perfect day, especially on the day that I was born today of 50 years, to look back at all the different milestones. And like you said, Jerry, some you remember and some you don't. And the ones you remember, it's really interesting because I think as you get older, you can look back and really learn from them and really see why they happened. So we would like to hear your milestone stories. We'd love for you to call in today at 1-800-585-9396. Keep in mind, dear listeners, our phone lines fill up very, very fast. So if you have something to say, don't hesitate. Call in 1-800-585-9396.
And there can be such a spiritual connection to many of the milestones. A lot of them, as I said earlier, have to do with our faith. Do you remember the first time you received Jesus in the Eucharist? I mean, do you recall that day? I've helped to prepare young people for that. And just to see, Debbie, the wonder in their eyes and just the reverence and the holiness and the gratitude. So maybe it was your first communion that really kind of set you on a path to a deeper relationship with God, or your confirmation, or maybe you dreaded a milestone. Maybe you were forced to go through confirmation and didn't want to do that. How about your wedding day? That is when, again, it's not just a man and a woman coming together and a ceremony, but Christ is there too. So, Debbie, there's just so much of a connection between many of the milestones we experience and God and our faith.
I agree with you, and I really believe, again, that it's so vitally important that we constantly reflect back in a positive way, not in a I regret way or a negative way, but in a positive way, to really see where we everything that got us here today, because that's the most important day, is today. Well, not because it's my birthday, but because today is the day that the Lord has made, and it's really beautiful. And I've really have valued that. I've really looked deep into my heart about that. And for me, it's an exciting day, and I'm glad we get to share it with our listeners, because I think milestones are important and they're precious. And I think that the sooner we accept them and embrace them, that's where God lets us evolve and grow. So this is an exciting day, dear listeners. Call in, share your milestone stories. We'd love to hear from you at 1-800-585-9396.
Really, one of the ways that milestones are important to our lives, Debbie, I think, is because just think of life without them. These give us things to shoot for. I don't want to go so far as to say they give us things to live for. We should live for God. And like you said, the gratitude, today is the day the Lord has made. But, milestones are important because they keep us going forward. Think about the student in high school. I remember I remember, Debbie, I failed my first driver's license test. And it was another driver's fault. I still swear to this day. And we got back and they said, well, I'm sorry, do you remember back when such and such happened, on the road? And I said, yes. And they said, well, I have to fail you because of that. And, getting my driver's license, that's just such a huge milestone for a young person. Debbie, I was crushed and I had to wait like a week, it was only 1 week of my life longer without a driver's license. But this is the power of milestones, is they give us things to shoot for. And then, Debbie, that sense of pride and accomplishment that we have reached certain points in our lives. So this is, I think, going to be a great discussion with our listeners.
I think so as well. And Jerry, you actually are a really great driver. So, you probably shouldn't have told me that. Now I'm going to be really nervous driving with you.
Oh, my. There are people who are afraid to ride with me.
No, you're a really great driver, and you have that way of quick reflexes and quick maneuvering, so that's good. But just in the back of my head now, I'm going to be thinking about that you failed your driver's test the first time. But it's all cool. Milestones are a great thing. I just wanted to share real quickly. It's kind of a fun little kind of trivia things before we take a break. But we're talking about milestones, and it does happen to be my birthday today. But a lot of people don't know this except for my family and close friends. I was actually born on the blackout day, November 9th, 1965. That's when the Northeast, 30 million people lost electricity and power. And there goes my birthday phone calls. Okay, let me turn the phone off. Okay.
Well, so your birthday had such an impact on the world.
It blew out the electricity.
Millions were without electricity. Whoa.
Yeah. What does that tell you? I came in with a bang, I'm telling you. But no, I was born on that day. And, it's interesting because looking back, I remember stories of my parents and my mom saying, oh, you were born for a reason. She would always say that you're born for, I always thought it was, somehow I did cause that blackout. But, I guess it was coincidence. And I didn't make it on the cover of Time magazine. My mom didn't want me to do a blackout baby story, but that was probably good that I didn't. But that was my little trivia for that. So those of you who remember that 1965 blackout, you'll get a kick out of it. Milestones is what we're talking about today on Take Two. This is where we take a fresh look, a new look at life. And guess what, dear listeners? The phone lines are full. So we're going to go take that break. When we come back, we're going to go right to the phones and hear about your milestone stories. This is an exciting day on Take Two. It's time for us to really look back and share those really crucial, pivotal times in our life that made a difference. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
EWTN is now on Twitter. Get short, timely messages from EWTN on your computer or cell phone. It's easy to stay up to date on a wide variety of topics. Pro-life news, Vatican announcements, catechesis, apologetics, the latest EWTN programming, and more. You can link to EWTN on Twitter from our homepage or go to twitter.com/EWTN. At work, at home, at school, and on the road. Stay connected to your world with EWTN's Twitter page.
It's the start of a new day for Morning Catholic Radio.
We celebrate with you, Father Leo, and we hope that you'll come back and visit us on Morning Glory.
I'm
Father,
coming to your house for dinner one day, Father. Just inviting myself right now, letting you know.
I disagree with you, though. Never trust a skinny priest. They're too skinny.
So our not-so-skinny priest, Father Bjorn, tell us about the gospel of holiness.
Morning Glory, Catholic from the start. Weekday mornings, 7 Eastern on the EWTN Global Catholic Radio Network.
Hello, this is Bill Donahue from the Catholic League, and you're listening to the EWTN Global Catholic Radio Network.
We're so glad you joined us on Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. We're talking about milestones today, and it does happen to be my birthday. Today is my 50th birthday, and I just want to thank all of the EWTN Catholic Radio Facebook listeners and supporters on the radio and the television, EWTN Facebook, for all the birthday well wishes. It really made my day so far, and I know everybody's emailing and text messaging and saying thanks. I want to say thank you for all the birthday wishes. The kindest ones I have received so far are the ones that say, you don't look 50. So that makes me feel really good. No, I really appreciate it. So thank you so much. But today we're talking about milestones, and we all have them and we all share them. So this is a really great day, Jerry, that we can, look, it'll help us realize how milestones have made us who we are. And that's a tapestry. That's a beautiful, glorious, God-given tapestry that God designs for each one of us. And I'm excited to share or hear what our listeners have to say and share with each other of how we can grow from it.
Yeah, when you think about it, getting to heaven is a milestone that we are looking for. Of course, milestones are usually things that we reach and then we pass and move on. Heaven, of course, is going to be an eternal milestone for us. So, all right, let's hear what you have to say. 1-800-585-9396. Let's start with Marion in Laramie, Wyoming, listening on Sirius XM 130. Hi, Marion. Welcome to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie.
Well, thank you. I just happened to be out at an odd hour this morning and listening, so that was great.
Well, glad you joined us.
So my first milestone that just totally was so exciting was my first communion. And I remember I went to Catholic grade school, and the nuns really worked with us and how important it is, and the prayers you say. I actually still say the after communion prayers that I said then, and that was more than 50 years ago. But the second part, my daughter's first communion, when we got home, we had a party, she got a bike and all that stuff. And then later she said, I said, what was the best part of the day? And she said, a lady at church gave me $2. Like, what? I said, what about all this other stuff? She said, well, you're my parents. You're supposed to do that. But a stranger gave me $2. I was, wow. So now I always keep a $5 bill in my pocket because it's been some time since that. And I always, we have a little bitty church, so we don't have, all the kids going together. But if there's a child who makes their first communion, when I come back from communion, then I stop and I sit down next to them and I say, next to the birth of my children, my first communion was the best day of my life. And then I give them the $5. And then I go away. And it's like, it was really cool for my daughter to feel that way. And so then that kind of helped me go another step.
Wow, Marion, I love what you're sharing because, when we reach certain milestones, we, it's not just an individual thing. So often it can be, but Debbie, this is the beautiful thing. Your birthday today, you've reached 50 years of age, and that you're not going to wake up and go through the day by yourself. But really, you said your phone is already ringing. You're getting texts. You've got your husband, Marty. I'm sure he's going to do something. I'm knowing Marty. He's got something very special planned for you. These are communal things, Debbie. And when other people, do what Marion is talking about, participate in our milestones, confirm us in reaching those milestones, it really helps to, tighten us up and bring us together more as a community, as a family.
I was just going to share that, Jerry, and you did it so beautifully about what Marion said about just that confirming of somebody else's joy, that confirming of somebody else's God-given moment, that special time in someone else's life that is very intimate with God. And when we make knowledge of that, when we confirm that, I love how you said that, Jerry, that was perfect because it totally elevates people in their conviction and it makes them realize how important and special it is. Marion, I think you were the perfect call to start off today to really give us a sense of gratitude and a sense to really be aware and to acknowledge God's beauty in our lives and how he connects with us. So Marion, I just want to say thank you so much for that wonderful contribution today to start off Take Two, and we hope you have a glorious and beautiful day. Thank you, Marion, from Laramie, Wyoming.
Yeah, I'll bet it's a gorgeous day there right now. Mm-hmm. Thanks, Marion. 1-800-585-9396. What's a milestone that you remember, you're grateful for, that may have really impacted or changed your life in some way? We're going to go next to Anthony in New York, listening on Sirius XM 130. Hello, Anthony. Welcome to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie.
Hi, Debbie. Happy birthday.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
I love you. This is your husband, Marty.
What? Oh.
I myself.
And it's so funny because when you said I love you, I'm thinking, do I know an Anthony in New York? I'm going, but then
Debbie's thinking, I hope Marty's not listening right now.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, Anthony is my confirmation name, and I am from New York, so it's kind of,
It is true.
yeah, it's true somewhat. So anyway, I know it's your birthday, but you have been a gift to me every day since we were married, actually 6 years ago. So
Thank you.
I
Thank
love
you.
so much. You are definitely a gift to me, and I'm very blessed.
Thank you, Marty. And thank you for using your Anthony, your confirmation name, since I am your confirmation sponsor. It's awfully nice that.
he's my sponsor. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Absolutely. And Jerry, next time we're all together after Ivy.
Yeah, right.
You're.
Yeah, I won't get behind the wheel if I'm with Debbie and Marty again.
Oh, well, bless you, Marty. Thank you so much for making my day and making my birthday special. I really, really appreciate it. And I love you too. Very, very much.
You're welcome. You guys keep up the great work. God bless.
Thank you. That's Marty Giorgiani, Debbie's husband. And by the way, your anniversary, Debbie, was Friday, right?
It was 2 days
Saturday?
ago. Yeah. Yeah, it was with
Saturday or?
well, the 7th. That was, yeah. Is that Saturday?
Okay, Saturday. Yeah. So
Yeah.
Another great milestone for Marty and Debbie celebrating an anniversary the other day too. So
Can you
it's
believe
beautiful
it?
that Marty called in.
That was really, really sweet. I just think it's so funny, though, Jerry. Now, every time we're all going to be with you, we're all going to be trying to take the wheel of the car. That's going to be hilarious. You should have never shared that, You're going to be like, I'll drive, and we'll be like, no, it's okay, Jerry. You don't have to drive.
No, you just relax. We want to drive you.
That's too funny. Thank you for that special, special treat. I know, Jerry, you definitely orchestrated that, and so I'm sure Jeff and Rich and Matt did as well. So thanks, you guys. I really appreciate it. That made my day. Wow.
All right.
Okay.
Next up, Kathy in Denver, listening on Denver Catholic Radio, listening to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. Hi, Kathy. Welcome.
Hello. Happy birthday, Debbie.
Hi, Kathy. Thank you so much.
Well, I was listening to the beginning of the show, and I thought, I should share that my 50th birthday is coming up on the 25th.
Awesome.
And then you said it was your 50th birthday, so.
Yeah, so we're both November babies.
I was actually born on Thanksgiving, and my parents, my mom said she made the pies because people were coming over to our house before she went to the hospital and had me. And my dad says I'm a turkey, and my mom says that they gave thanks when I was born. So I think both sides of my personality are in that.
That is beautiful, Kathy. Well, happy early birthday. And, from one November baby to another, I mean, everybody always thinks November babies are so special. And I think we are, Kathy.
I think you're right. I just wanted to say for me, I've actually been really excited about my birthday this year. My family's coming out, my in-laws and my family from Virginia, my brothers, and we're all going to be in Breckenridge for the week, just hanging out and visiting, and I've come a long way in 50 years, and I realize that I have a lot further to go, but I'm excited for kind of this midpoint in my life.
Well, Kathy, I can relate to the T, to the letter. Absolutely. I feel the exact same way. And I hear the fun in your voice, the joy in your voice, and that feels really good. I kind of feel the same way. And I was joking at the beginning of the show where I said, the best birthday wishes I got were when people said, you don't look 50. I actually like the ones that say, you don't act 50. Because I always want to hear that joy and feel that joy and express that joy that you're sharing, Kathy. So God bless you. You sound like a wonderful person. I wish I was in Denver, Colorado. I could pop in on your celebration, but maybe someday. So thank you and God bless you.
This really big house, which, I could never live in. But since there's a bunch of us, we're going to hopefully have a really good time together.
Amen.
Sounds awesome. Kathy, thanks for calling, and I join Debbie in wishing you a happy early birthday. Have a blessed day, Kathy.
You too.
All right. I guess Kathy and Debbie are proving that 50 is the new 30 here on Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. We're talking about milestones today. Is it a faith milestone? Is it a life milestone like a birthday? Is it a wedding? Maybe when your first child was born? Maybe you overcame an illness. Maybe you discovered God for the first time. 1-800-585-9396. Steve is in Louisiana on Sirius XM 130. Hi, Steve. Welcome to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie.
Hi, thank you for listening to my call.
Anytime.
My milestone is kind of an example of how God uses just the simplest things to make dramatic changes in people's lives. And mine was regarding going to high school, selecting a high school. There was this guy that lived across the street from me. He's a year older than me. And he went to a school called Don Bosco Tech in Rosemead, California. And I idolized this guy. And so I thought, well, if that's the school he's going to, then that's the school I want to go to. And of course, it's a Catholic school. And I'd always gone to public school. So I ended up going. And I can honestly say that that choice saved my life, my spiritual life. My family was Catholic in name only. Did the sacraments, and then that's it. They didn't go to mass, nothing like that. And but going to Bosco, I did the 9 First Fridays. I remember them telling me that we're going to have a retreat, and that you will not be the same. You will either be better or worse after this retreat. And I definitely wanted to be better. And then we had the daily masses and all that. And I think that's the reason that despite all of the times that I have resisted God and gone my own direction, He's always pulled me back. And I now have 3 members of my family who have gone on to their eternal rest, and all 3 have had deathbed conversions. And I think partially it's through the prayers, my constant prayers for them, and things of that nature that God used me, I think, to bring them back. That was mine.
Yeah, Steve, as you're talking, and like you said, it could seem like something, I don't want to say insignificant. You said it could be, kind of a small thing, the choice of a high school. But in this particular case, you now see, looking back, and this is another part of milestones, we can reach them, we can move beyond them, but to be able to go back to them and look and say, this was for this particular purpose, I think that is fantastic. And, Debbie, who knows how many people will be perhaps eternally grateful and impacted by this particular milestone, this decision that Steve made some years ago.
Yeah, and I believe, Jerry, you and I talk about there's no accidents in life. There's no accident that you're, Steve, made the right decisions at the right time, and they were all purposeful directions that got you to where you are today. And that's why I've often said to people, even when I was teaching, I would say to people all the time, when you live with regrets, when you look back and say, I wish I could have gone this way or that way, you don't know how, things could have drastically changed for your life. And that's why to embrace when things happen and move forward, it's the best, I think, this is my personal opinion now, the best gift you can give back to God is really accepting everything that has transpired, all the decisions, all of the moves, all of the direction that happened in our lives is a gift from God. Everything is a gift. So, Steve, I think you confirmed that for me today, and how important it is just to kind of, really be grateful for where we are because of the decisions that were made in the past, but also kind of just to reflect and just think of how cool that is. It got us here today. Any final little comments maybe on that before we go to break?
No, I pretty well summed it up. I appreciate it.
Well, thank you. We appreciate
Awesome.
you, and thanks for calling in.
Yeah, thank you, Steve. And we have many more of you to get to. David, Rex, Bill, and Bernie, not necessarily in that order, just looking at all the calls on the screen here. Great job by Matt Gabensky screening your calls today. Rich Jesse, our producer. Jeff Burson handles the social media. We're going to check in on social media on the other side of the break, too, and see if there's anything there that we can share with you. We're talking about milestones in life. What has been one that's important to you? 800-585-9396.
Get an insider's look at the latest information from EWTN. Sign up for Wings, EWTN's weekly email newsletter. Get the latest information about live events, special features, and guests. Connect with EWTN on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. Just go to EWTN.com and click on the Wings link to sign up. Don't miss a minute of all that's happening at EWTN. Get your wings today.
Everybody wants to change things in their lives to help us find that something more we're all looking for. And so often we change exterior things as we strive to fix our lives. We change our jobs, majors, houses, outfits, online profiles, noses. And all that can be okay. But no matter how many surface changes you make, at the end of the day, you're still you. And so often, you're still looking for that something more. Jesus said, I came so that they might have life and have it to the full. That's what we're made for. That's what we're looking for. I've heard it said that Jesus didn't just come to make bad people good, he came to make dead people alive. And that's the kind of change that only he can bring about in us. New life for our souls. If you really want to change, invite Jesus into your life. And come back to church if you've been away for a while. You'll be amazed at how much else changes for the better. This is Chris Stefanik from reallifecatholic.com.
I invite people to listen to Women of Grace Live if they're interested in being informed, if they're interested in being inspired, if they're interested in being encouraged in their life of faith. I encourage people to listen to Women of Grace Live because we hear from a wide assortment of people whose questions oftentimes are the very questions that are going on. I'm Janet Benkovic, inviting you to join me weekday mornings at 11 Eastern for Women of Grace on the EWTN Global Catholic Radio Network.
Thanks for joining us today on Take Two with Jerry and Debbie on the EWTN Global Catholic Radio Network. We're talking about milestones today, and it just so happens to be actually my birthday, my 50th birthday. And Jerry, if I may, really, really quickly, the phone lines are completely full. When you and I were choosing this topic and praying about this topic, I was reflecting back on milestones, and and there's many, many, many milestones. Obviously, in my life, I lived 50 years, but I was looking at a few of them, and after I read them, and kind of reflected on them, I thought, wow, this has been a roller coaster of a ride of life. And I look back in my teens, my whole entire teens, I played golf because I was going to be a golf professional. And then I moved out to Arizona from New Jersey. In my 20s, I got married, had my first child, went into ministry. In my 30s, I had the whole cancer situation and had my second child. In my 40s, I got my master's degree in theology and then got divorced. And then in my 40s again, I got remarried to my special gift, Marty, my husband. And I have to tell you, it's just, and in my 50s now, we're sitting here today ministering globally on EWTN. And so I look back and I think, wow, I could have written a book. I mean, man, my life took a lot of twists and turns. But you know what? I don't regret it at all. I have no regrets. Life to me, I think of that movie, is it called Parenthood with Steve Martin at the end, where they showed the roller coaster ride of life, and it was they went up and down, and they had the exhilaration of the roller coaster and the anxiety of a roller coaster and the thrill of a roller coaster. And that's, dear listeners, that's how I kind of view life. So I really think it's a roller coaster ride, but we enjoy every single moment of it. And God willing, we see the face of God at the end of that ride. So that's all I had to say about my milestones. I know we're going to move right along to David in Portland, Oregon, who gets the award today for patience on Modern Day Radio. David, you have waited so long. You got our award today. Welcome.
Hi.
Hi.
I
Well, briefly, my 50th birthday was a milestone for me, and the milestone was that I actually grew up. I felt like I'd finally grown up. And I figure 50 is better than nothing. But my real milestone was I rediscovered my Catholic faith at just this last year, and that was more rewarding than I ever thought. I'd been going with my wife and family to the United Church of Christ and felt really happy there. And then I met my wife's uncle, who was a pastor at the Foursquare Church, and he just sort of shook my whole faith. And the next thing, and I started. He got me reading the Bible and going to hit the Foursquare Church, and in that I just started. I had 88.3 always programmed on my radio, but I never listened to it. And then I just started listening to it, and I've been just I'm so happy that I've found the Catholic faith and its richness. It's just nothing. My mother and father would be so proud. That I've kind of found my way back here, and I can't really put words around it, but I just never realized the Catholic faith had such a richness to it that I'm discovering, and it's just so exciting.
Yeah, if I may just go first here, Debbie, I'll let you say. I know you got some things, but David, this is really one of those milestones that God has certainly had His hand on, and what's really I think beautiful about this is you have had the foundation laid. You were going to the other churches; they were feeding you in many ways the elements of truth and God's presence there and so forth. He was really preparing you, grooming you for that moment. And thanks be to God that gives me a chance to plug Catholic radio, Modern Day Radio and Oklahoma Catholic Radio, the Station of the Cross, Guadalupe, all of the radio networks, EWTN. But, Debbie, this is, again, one of those milestones that will it'll have a ripple effect, it won't just impact David and his life, but so many other people as well.
I agree. And David, I like what you said about when you became 50, you kind of grew up. To me, I heard that as you matured as a Christian. You came into your own as a Christian and really owned your faith and loved your faith and is now taking your faith to the next level. And that, I think, is something we all aspire to do and to really mature as Christians. I, on the other hand, from a personality standpoint, David, I do aspire to the Peter Pan theory that I really look at life very adventurously, and I'm very curious in nature in the sense that I look at everything as just kind of an exciting thing. But I would echo what you have to say about growing into being a mature Christian, because I think that's the greatest thing we can give ourselves and our families and our friends is when they see a Christian that has really evolved and has really appreciated it. So you inspired me today, David, and I thank you for your call. Just was curious if you had any other thoughts.
No, I just kind of wanted to share that. I've been reading a book called Why Catholicism Matters, and it's just been so awesome. There's so much I overlooked in life about my Catholic upbringing and just about the faith, because of the recent history has not been very favorable, but it has such a long and rich history that I just overlooked. And I'm so happy. I can't explain how happy I am to be at this point.
Awesome. And, that book he references by Bill Donahue, president of the Catholic League for Religious and Civil Rights. So I know Dr. Donahue and anything that he has written. I have not read this book, but I have to believe it's a powerful and impacting book. So, David, thanks so much for helping to make Debbie's birthday great. And thanks for sharing your milestone today at 1-800-585-9396. Debbie, I'll read some of the social media ones because they all say happy birthday to you, and you wouldn't feel comfortable reading them. So Paul says, happy birthday, Debbie. I turned 50 in June. You certainly don't look 50. He says, it's not bad. Just as fun as all the years before, but much more slower. LOL. Have a great birthday. Marty posted on there, that's my beautiful wife. Happy birthday. Let's see. Carol says, happy birthday. Welcome to the 50 and Fabulous Club. And let's see, there's so many others on here. We've got Anthony says, happy birthday, Debbie Georgiani. I wake up to your voice each weekday morning on internet radio in Ireland. Isn't that beautiful?
Oh, Oh, that's beautiful. Thank you so much. I'm very humbled by all the comments. Thank you. And I like that. What did you say, Jerry? 50 and is it 50 and Fabulous Club?
50, the 50 and Fabulous Club. That's Carol who wrote that on EWTN Catholic Radio Facebook page.
I like that. Way to go, you guys. Thanks so much. That is so awesome. Okay, we're going to go out to Vancouver, Washington on Sirius XM, listening on Sirius XM 130. That's Rex. Hi, Rex. Welcome to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie.
Good morning. Happy birthday, Debbie.
Thank you so very much.
You know, 50 is just the new 30. Shoot, my daughter's older than you.
Is that right?
You sound pretty young, though. Your voice sounds very youthful.
Oh, thank you. You know, I was thinking about your mileposts, and I was just driving home from Mass, and I got to thinking mileposts can just be mile markers along the way to the big event. And to make a long story short, I was raised a Lutheran. And in 2001, through an accident of some dial twisting, I found myself listening to KBVM in Portland. And the first thing I heard was a rosary. Mm. And that night on KBVM, I heard Catholic Answers Live for the first time. And that started a journey for me in 2001, after leaving the Lutheran Church in 2005, to Easter 2009. And I went to an Easter sunrise service at a Lutheran church. Mm. And right after receiving communion, I sat down and I turned and I said to my wife, "That wasn't it." And she said, "It what?" I said, "That was not the Eucharist. And this is the last Easter that I won't be a Catholic." Mm. And it all started with KBVM.
Mm.
Wow, that is absolutely powerful, Rex. And again, you know, having been involved in Catholic radio for, you know, almost the last 20 years, it's just this is the kind of stuff that, you know, folks, money can't buy. I mean, if you're not supporting your local Catholic station, little tangent here, please do so, because Rex is living proof of the great work that God's grace is doing through the airwaves. But you know, again, Debbie, this is another one of those things that is, God has his hands all over it here for Rex, and it is coming to that realization, you know, and hearing the things on the radio, you know, these are not just, you know, milestones or mileposts for an individual, but this is, and Rex, I'd be curious to know, you know, has your wife followed you into the church? Have other people, you know, been impacted by the milestone that you achieved?
Well, right after that event, I beat it down to Sacred Heart Catholic Church in Battleground and got into RCIA. And the good priest there, Father Matthew O'Leary, pulled me out of RCIA in December and received me into the church on Gaudete Sunday. And since then, I've been as much of a evangelist and disciple as I can in my humble way. But my wife, no, she has not followed me into the church yet, but she's very happy for me. But I have friends who are interested, and I've become so involved in the church and in my outreach, working through things like St. Vincent de Paul. I'm reaching a lot of people, and I'm planting seeds.
Right. And Rex, and the other thing too is the joy and the appreciation that we hear in your voice is only going to be something that your wife and others are drawn to, and it's contagious. It really is. It draws you in when you see others filled with the Holy Spirit in a way that it just kind of it exudes out of them. It spreads out of them. When you were speaking, Rex, I don't know if you heard the kind of pause before Jerry and I, and Jerry actually commented first, but there was a pause. And I think it was because both of us, if I may say, Jerry, we were both kind of just taking it in. We could feel the Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit connects all of us in so many beautiful ways, and and the Holy Spirit does it so beautifully through radio, because we can just hear each other's voices and just rest in each other's stories and let God be in the midst of it. So Rex, you really and truly just made my day in a way that was very deep to the core. And so I just thank you for your ministry work you're doing. I thank you that you have such a strong love for the faith. And it's just an awesome story you have. And I think you nailed it when you said they're mile markers or mileposts. So thank you, Rex. God bless you.
Welcome. Have a great birthday.
Thank you.
1-800-585-9396. We're going to move right along. Bernie also gets the Patience Award today in Cambridge, Massachusetts, listening on the Station of the Cross, AM 1060. Bernie, welcome to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. How are you doing?
Oh, good, thank you. I hope it's not too noisy. I am outside of Harvard Square. It's busy at lunchtime here. But I just had to call in, and I thought, instead of wishing Debbie a happy birthday, I'll do what my mom always made us do before we blew out the candles. And she'd have to sing, "May the good Lord bless you. May the good Lord bless you. May the good Lord bless Debbie. May the good Lord bless you." I'm not a singer, but anyway, good try.
No, that was perfect.
But
That was
I thought
perfect.
regarding the milestones, not so much the age and all that, but more so with faith piece was, I'd have to go back to when I first grew to really love Mary, our Blessed Mother, and it was actually, I couldn't have been more than maybe 12, and we had the May procession, and I just remember taking it all in. The girl that got to be picked was a relative of mine. They did her hair, parade through the streets. There was a marching band. And I just remember cognitively thinking, wow, this is like a really big deal. But then when we got to the statue and the singing and all the flowers, and I just sort of looked at Mary in just awe, and it just really stuck with me. And a woman that was part of, like, all of that going on in the band and such used to have a lot of us pray the rosary when we'd be on the bus or going to an event. And I would listen to her pray the Hail Holy Queen and think, that prayer is so long, how can this woman have this memorized? But again, I thought, wow, she just must value this so much, and it must be such a beautiful prayer. And do you know that I learned that Hail Holy Queen from her? And when my mom passed 5 or 6 years ago, she actually had come to the funeral, and I said, you know what? I won't say her name, but I said, you taught me the Hail Holy Queen. You have no idea what a role model you were. So those were really just, milestones. And there was one other time I'll just speak very briefly about when I really felt drawn a little bit to Christ. Again, I was in high school. It was around when I made confirmation. And I'll never forget, I came home, and my mother, who was such a devoted Catholic woman, had 7 of us, Irish Catholic woman. And I'll never forget, I said, Mom, this girl at school, she kind of made fun of my face. She told me that, I had this, acne, and, and you know what my mother said? She just looked at me with such compassion in her eyes. And she said, Bernadette, I want you to know that Jesus was spit on. And you know what? She didn't have to say another word. It stopped there. I just so got that. And those are just 2 times between the May procession and that. But they have stuck with me my whole life.
Wow. Well, Bernie, I have to tell you, first of all, I was going to ask you if Bernie is short for Bernadette, and you answered that. And beautiful, beautiful saint you're named after. Just a couple quick things, because I know we want to try to get to as many calls today as possible. But Bernie, you said so many things, first of all, that touched my heart. Your voice is like an angel, so you sing beautifully. Thank you for that wonderful birthday song. It really meant the world to me. And it actually is one of my favorite parts of the birthday song. My girlfriend sings it to me every year. So thank you for that. You were the first one. Second of all, you confirmed exactly what we were saying about how other people's devotion, other people's joy and conviction for their faith and how important it is to them and how it's part of their being comes out of them and inspires and edifies all of us. And that is why it is so, this is just my humble opinion, it's so important for us as Catholic Christians to really be joyous about the faith and live the faith in all ways. Even we're in the darkest times of our life to the highest of highs of our life, but to really be Christian and let it show what it means to be Christian, because it will change others. It will advance others in their spirituality. And you confirmed that so beautifully, Bernie, and I just want to say thank you very, very much for taking the time and calling in. Is there anything else you wanted to share?
No, there were just so many great calls today. I mean, and the only last thing I'd say is the woman that made mention of giving $5. I really think when she first started out talking about that, I wasn't quite sure I was on to what she meant. And then I realized she is absolutely on to something. when you validate the kids and throw them a few dollars or send them that beautiful card with just a little snippet of a thought from the face, that reinforces, wow, this really is a big deal because, they're teens or they're in the between years or whatever it is. And I just think the more that we put out there and validate those moments,
right,
the richer they're going to be and they're going to draw on those memories.
Amen. Amen,
Thank
Bernadette.
you.
Yes.
Bye-bye.
Have a beautiful
Bless you.
day.
Thanks for making the show great, Bernadette, and all of you who are on the line and who have called already. Next up, Bill is in Bridgeport, Connecticut, listening to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. Bill, welcome to the program. How are you doing today?
I'm doing fine. How are you?
Doing well. Better now that you called.
Well, I remember that blackout very well because I was living in Stratford, Connecticut. That's where I grew up. It's about 61 miles away from New York. I remember I was watching a show called Bewitched. It was on Channel 7. Debbie would probably know it because I remember she said she came from New Jersey.
Mm-hmm.
I remember the picture shrinking on the TV, and I thought there was a weak tube in it. Like it was in those days, most of them used tubes, and then I saw a light dimming in the room. I don't know when the power came on where we live. I know it didn't come out till 3 a.m. in New York, but I don't think we were affected by that because our power company had a separate grid. But as far as milestones, I passed 50 about 15 years ago, and I just turned 65. And I remember Debbie talking about being being a cancer survivor. I'm being monitored for stage 3 cancer right now. 4 years ago, I had a colonoscopy. I found I had a blockage in my colon, and I had surgery back in February of 2012. I had chemotherapy for about 8 months. It wasn't radiation therapy, so I didn't lose my hair. It was given to me through an IV. And I'm still being monitored for now, and I do have arthritis. See, right now I'm retired, but I'm also on Social Security disability. But the biggest milestone I can think of is the fact that I lived to be 65, because I've had friends of mine that I went to high school with and went to college with that didn't make that milestone, and also the fact that I try to be, I have optimism about my cancer. I'm not it wasn't anything that I did in my past. I used to smoke. I used to drink. I don't do neither of those anymore. I haven't smoked since April of '93, and I haven't had a drink since November of 1988. But the doctor said it had nothing to do with that. It was one of those cancers that it just happened. They don't know what causes it. But the milestone I have is the fact that I can face my cancer with optimism, and that I was able to pass 50 and pass 65, and that I'm able to take care of myself. I live alone, but sometimes it's a struggle. Like the day I'm doing my laundry, my washer and dryer downstairs, I have arthritis in my knees, and sometimes it's a struggle. I'm bringing the laundry up from the basement, but I'm still able to do it. And
Bill, I'm going to jump in real quick because we're getting ready to close the show, but I have so much to share with you. But real quickly, I just wanted to share. I call myself a cancer thriver, just simply because of that, because of shifting the attitude towards it. And it sounds like you have done that, and you said you have some optimism, and you're living through it. I just want to share too, Bill, that every day is a gift. We don't know what tomorrow brings. We don't know when our time is to go. We don't know any of that. We know every day is a gift, and I've learned that through the cancer. That's what I came out of the cancer with, is this huge blessing that every single day is a gift, because none of us know the time, the hour, and the day. And it sounds like you really are adopting that as well. And you can hear that, kind of peace and joy in your voice. And with that, Bill, I think it's just awesome, because you really are just embracing life. And you have a great memory of the blackout, by the way. And thank you for confirming it. So no one else had to go online and try to look it up, because you had all the details of it. But Bill, please rest assured on something. You now put your story out globally. You have a prayer team around you. So feel those prayers, because we're all going to hold you up in prayer. We've all got your back with prayer. So please know that and take comfort in that, Bill.
All right, Bill, thanks so much for the call. We got to try and get to a couple more here if we can. Nina is in Tulsa listening on Oklahoma Catholic Radio. Nina, welcome to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. We've got about 2 minutes, but we wanted to get to your call, Nina. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, too. I'll go really fast. It was Epiphany. Sometimes our milestones are when we're in the utmost despair, and I had so much despairing at this moment. And it was a time when I was going through a divorce. My kids were still young, and I was very sad. Something happened, and I was sitting in the den. As usual, when I go into despair, I think of an incident. It was a friend of mine that committed suicide maybe 20 years before. And every time something bad happened, I would think of that and think there's no hope. And I was there, dark despair, tears, and I was really just sick to my stomach, no hope. Although I prayed, I was a very practicing Catholic even then. But I remember looking up at the crucifix, and I realized that our Lord did it first. He set the way to suffer, showed the way. He did it before me. And I knew then that, oh, Jesus did it. I can do it. I can suffer too. And it was such a joy to understand that. It's an interior knowledge that I can't explain with words, except that I understood that if Jesus can do it, then I can too. And nothing makes you know the love of God more is than when you suffer. Because I've had a lot of suffering after that, but it was knowledge that our Lord did it, I can do it too.
Nina, you are really almost describing, I've shared on this show, it was 2011. God allowed me to go through a period of great darkness and just a real struggle, a real challenge. And it was absolutely, I hated it. It was just awful. It really tried me in many ways. I look back now and I say that was by far the greatest milestone that I ever could have passed through. And it was not just a single short, brief event, but it took some time, and don't have time to go into all of that now. But the thing is, I'm so grateful now. And like you said, now I feel like in my life, when the challenges come and the difficulties and the trials, I can face them a lot differently now, because I know that God loves me. That was the greatest milestone for me, I guess, that came out of my difficult year was knowing. I mean, really, really knowing that God loved me, which I didn't know before, and that changes everything. So, Nina, I am resonating completely with what you're saying, and Debbie, I know that, you could probably say, similar things.
Absolutely, absolutely. Amen to that, Nina, that you shared that today, because you definitely encouraged all of us. And if you look at the lives of the saints, I've been reading a lot about the lives of the saints this weekend, and read about St. Faustina. I never knew that she had really strong bouts with darkness and how she overcame it. We can learn from the saints. That's my takeaway today on really getting through milestones and having those ones that walked ahead of us and as heroes. You, Jerry?
Yeah, my takeaway is milestones are awesome. I think they keep us going. We look back at them, and we can look back even on difficult things and say that was a positive milestone in my life. So thank you all. I wish we could get to all of your other calls. Really appreciate it. Tomorrow, Steve Ray is going to join us. We're going to talk about relating to non-Catholic family and friends. So I know that you'll have a lot to share with us by way of your takes tomorrow.
So we want to see you tomorrow. Thanks for the birthday wishes, you guys. But until tomorrow, have a beautiful and blessed day. See you then.